2025 has been a year, as all years are, but man has it been a good one for anime. Especially for anime movies with the hits like Demon Slayer and the Chainsaw Man Reze arc movie making huge waves in cinema, breaking records and competing heavily with AAA budget films, like the 2025 Superman movie. Both movies surpassed expectations, but so did other animes, and in today's video, I Leave Shinobi Civ will be ranking my top 10 anime of 2025, so let's get into it. Now before I begin with my list, let me tell you that all of this is my opinion, and it's perfectly fine if your list is different from mine. I mean, I had a total of around 30 different animes that were in contention to make my top 10 list, so you could see how there would be differences in the first place. In fact, let me list some of the anime that I was debating on putting on this list. Solo Leveling Season 2, Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 2, Spy X Family Season 3, Sakamoto Days Part 2, Blue Exorcist The Blue Knight Saga, Medalist, Gachikuta, Kingdom Season 6, Lord of Mysteries, Dr. Stone Science Future, My Happy Marriage Season 2, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Season 2, Windbreaker Season 2, Clavities, With You and Lorraine, To Be Hero X, Dandadan Season 2, and more. And that's not even all of them. Point is, I welcome you guys to leave your top 10 anime of 2025 list in the comment section down below. And hey, why not read my list while you're at it? I would love to see what you guys chose as your top 10 of 2025 and why, if you can explain your reasonings, because trust me, this was not easy to make. The funny thing is that number 1 to 7 for me was super easy, because it felt like there was a definitive 7 anime in my mind that deserved to be there on that list. But 8 through 10 was where I really had a difficult time picking what I was going to place, because there were just so many contenders, which I've just listed. So at number 10, we got My Dress Up Darling Season 2. My Dress Up Darling is about making cosplay and everything surrounding it cool. Our protagonist, Wakana Gojo, is a high school student who lives with his grandfather in his Hina doll shop, where they make Hina dolls for a living. Gojo is a shy person and doesn't want anyone to know that he likes Hina dolls after an incident where he was chastised for being a boy who likes dolls. But our co-protagonist, Marin Kitagawa, catches Gojo working on his Hina dolls, specifically making its clothes, and is impressed by him. She asks Gojo to make a cosplay outfit for her since he knows how to sew, and after some convincing, he agrees to do it. The process of making cosplay outfits and learning more about cosplay from Marin piques Gojo's interest as a friendship blossoms between the two over their passions for cosplay and Hina dolls, or clothing. From there, the two go out and hang out with each other, making more cosplay outfits in Gojo's case, and attending more cosplay events in Marin's case. They even make some cosplay friends along the way, with their own unique stories and passion for cosplay. Season 2 is more of that, but with Marin starting to have more feelings for Gojo than just friendship. What makes My Dress Up Darling so good are the messages behind the story, with an emphasis on being proud of yourself and what you're passionate about, no matter what barriers are in front of you or what people think of you. To see Gojo going from a shy, lonely Hina doll maker to one who's more brave, not afraid to show others his passions for making clothing, cosplays, and Hina dolls, but more importantly, his desire to be on Marin's side even if he's not completely aware or accepting of his feelings for her. Not to mention, the anime makes cosplay look cool and how there's so much more to it than just putting on an outfit or a wig to a convention. It does touch upon subjects like gender identity, which some people may complain about, but those people don't see the bigger picture here. And I mean, hey, Gojo gets a better ending, at least this one does, than the one in JJK. Now, let me tell you what I got at number 9, because it's probably one you're not expecting. Maybe you are expecting it, maybe not, but let's see. At number 9, we got Dealing with Mikadono Sisters is a Breeze. Now, for those of you who watch my videos, you will know how much I like this story, let alone the anime. I actually did a review on this anime which you can check out, the link will be in the description down below, or you can check it out on the iCard on the top right hand of your screen. But here's the TLDR. The MC Uayase is orphaned as a child after his mother Subaru Ayase passes away from an illness. She was a talented actress who She was a talented actress who famously performed her own stunts, but her son failed to inherit any of her talents except for her looks. Luckily, he gets adopted by the Mikadono family, a family full of talented people including Mr. Mikadono, the father, and the one who adopted you as a favor to his mother, and his 3 daughters, Kazuki Mikadono being the theatrical performer, Nico Mikadono being the karate prodigy, and Miwa Mikadono being the shogi master. The 3 girls initially see no value in Yu, and even Yu questions himself as to how he's going to be used to the sisters. But realizing that the sisters' relationship with each other has weakened, Yu elects to fix this by bringing them together and by helping them overcome any hurdles they face in order to make this once individualized family united again. What makes this season so good is that despite being a rom-com/harem, it focuses more on the slice of life aspect of things, with personal growth and family being at the forefront of the story. From the sisters' first impression of Yu being ice cold to Yu being part of the family by the end of the season, and someone whose help has made the sisters better than who they were in the beginning of the story. There are hints of romance throughout the latter half of the season, but it's the wholesomeness behind what Yu does, knowing how it feels to not have a family or a strong familial bond, and his ability to empathize with people that makes him such a compelling MC and someone you could root for or be inspired from. I mean, despite his constant failures, he manages to push forward, no matter what. He truly breaks the mold of a rom-com NC being pathetic or clueless, as at least his clumsiness isn't something that stops him from doing what he desires to do. Trust me, this is a must-watch/read if you haven't seen the anime or read the manga yet. And while this may not be on your top 10 list, for me, it's done more than enough to make it on my list. I mean, I legit rewatched this anime about 20 times now, which is crazy. And I've reread the manga at least like 5 times, which is a lot, but what can I say? I enjoyed it. It was just that good in my eyes. Right, so if I have this at number 9, you might be wondering what's at number 8. Well, at number 8 we got Dan Da Dan, aka Dan Da Dan Season 2. I know a lot of you are surprised to see Dan Da Dan this low on the list, but there's a good reason for that. The only reason why Dan Da Dan is this low at number 7 is because everything else that's above it is, in my opinion, better. I mean, look, summer 2025 just came out with a lot of bangers, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, let's give a quick summary and then I'll explain why Dan Da Dan is at number 7. Momo and Okuron believe in 2 opposite things. Momo believes in ghosts, not aliens, and Okuron believes in aliens, not ghosts. So the 2 challenge each other's beliefs. Well, it just so happens that both exist in this universe, and Momo gets abducted by aliens while Okuron is cursed and momentarily possessed by a yokai called Turbo Granny. They do end up surviving their calamities, but not everything's all in well. You see, my boy Okuron is missing his jewels, meaning he can't use Manscaped, not sponsored, just saying. And in order to get them back, they need to break Okuron's curse that Pervo Granny put on the boy and fight off supernatural threats on some ghost stories type business.
Why are you running?
In order to get his jewels back. And yeah, that's about it. The story definitely reminds me a lot of Ghost Stories dub, but with older characters and, dare I say, more explicit? I mean, kinda. I mean, it's fair to not understand what's happening at first, and the stakes are, well, questionable at best. Though I get it, and I hope he finds it. The anime is still a good time with good laughs, and the 2 MCs are definitely made for each other. It's still a worthwhile watch, like, don't get me wrong. But still, I could not place this higher than what I have at number 7, which is Lord of Mysteries. Lord of Mysteries is a donghua from China that focuses on magic and mystery. Now before I explain the story a little bit, let me say that China has firmly stamped its mark in the industry of anime/manga, or in their case donghua, with stuff like To Be Hero X, Link Click, to some degree Supercube, and then especially with Lord of Mysteries. I would say their run with Link Click, To Be Hero X, and Lord of Mysteries has been like really solid, and I mean really solid. Anyways, this story is something that you really have to pay attention to, otherwise it's easy to lose track of the plot. But it finds a way to reel you back in, all the while testing your patience and attention to detail. The basic premise of this story is that the MC Zhao Mingru mysteriously awakens in the body of Klein Moretti in another world set in a Victorian-esque period. In order to have any hope of returning to his world, he is forced to join an occult and mess with forces beyond human nature to have any chance of returning home. Understand, the plot progression is reminiscent of Steins Gate because at first there's a lot of exposition and not much seemingly happens until you get to about episode 8 or 9 where everything begins to add up, leading to the plot twist in episode 10 where the anime goes essentially from a 7.5 to a perfect 10 out of 10 all the way until the end, with everything happening earlier on in the season playing a key role in the eventual conclusion of the story. In the same vein, Lord of Mysteries takes some time to understand what's happening, but like I mentioned earlier, if you pay attention for 35 minutes each episode, because each episode is 35 minutes long, you will understand what's happening. Plus, if you like Harry Potter, it's kind of a similar vibe to a degree. Think of it as China's take on Harry Potter to some extent. Nah, but for real, if you're a fan of the mystery genre, then you might be tempted to find out what makes Zhao Mingru the Lord of Mysteries. So let me tell you what I have at number 6. At number 6, I've got Kingdom Season 6. I wonder how much of a shocker this one is going to be because Kingdom really doesn't get talked about enough. In fact, I was originally going to leave Kingdom off this list as I only started watching Kingdom earlier this month, but I ended up getting hooked on it and binged all 5 seasons of Kingdom, having finally caught up to season 6 and the latest episode that released of Kingdom. Still, since this was a last minute addition to this list, this section might be a little short because of time's sake, but I do plan on making a more comprehensive video about Kingdom in the future. But for now, let me expeditiously summarize Kingdom. Kingdom is a historical anime set in China's Warring States period. It follows a servant boy named Shin, a war orphan who dreams of becoming a great general, and Ying Zhang, the young king of Qin, as they fight to unify China, specifically the Middle Kingdom. The series focuses on large-scale battles, military strategy, political intrigue, and Shin's rise from a common soldier to a key figure in Qin's army. What makes Kingdom so amazing is the growth that we get to see from Shin, mostly accurate, take that with a grain of salt as I'm not a historian, of what happened during the Warring States period, animated in such a manner you almost get a sense of what it was like back then. When the generals or Shin are rallying the troops to boost their morale, you hear their words, and when the troops scream, you feel that resonate with you as well. The other thing is, when the generals are strategizing their next move, it's as if you're there, absorbing the knowledge and getting an understanding of how different minds perceive different situations. This anime really reels you in when you watch it so well that barely any fighting can happen, and it can just be about strategizing their next move, and yet still, it finds a way to keep you engaged with what's happening. Then there's Shin's growth from season 1 to now, and to see how far he's gotten and how much he's accomplished in such a relatively short time, it's impressive. I felt like a proud father every time Shin would go up against his foes, and against all odds he would find a way to push through, always having his comrades back, and making him such a great leader. Season 1 of Kingdom came out in 2012, and the CGI is, well, not the best to put it lightly, but don't let that be the reason why you drop it. For me, I got used to the CGI by episode 3, and you'll find yourself being able to watch it. Season 3 and onwards is where the CGI improves drastically, but the story is amazing throughout season 1 to 6, so I highly recommend you go check out Kingdom, because trust me, when you do, you'll understand why Kingdom has such a strong cult following behind it. I actually put quite a few honorable mentions on this list, so I'll be brief in describing them, otherwise this video would be over an hour long. Okay, to start off, my first honorable mention goes to Campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill. So while the title sounds like an isekai, it changes the formula of an isekai, turning it into a more fun and wholesome adventure. And all of that is due to Makoto, the MC, who evades having to do the king's bidding after being summoned to an isekai world where it's found that he has a quote-unquote useless skill in online grocery. It turns out that this skill is very useful, as food or drinks bought from the online grocery store give stat boosts to the user, but that paled in comparison to his befriending of Fella and Sui, two of his strongest familiars, aka beasts, in battle. Fella is a big wolf who is a Fenrir that is overpowered at this point, and Sui's an adorable little slime who's deadly with apothecary and blacksmith abilities. Anyways, the story is about a bunch of friends who journey throughout this isekai world, eating good food, clearing dungeons, beating quests, and fighting beasts. But most importantly, having a fun time doing so. Now, Medalist is about an 11-year-old girl named Inori who has dreams of becoming a world-class figure skater. Problem is, she's at the cutoff age, and her mother doesn't want her to figure skate, as her older sister was a figure skater until a career-ending injury caused her to permanently abandon skating. One day, Inori meets Tsukasa, a former ice dancer whose dreams were also crushed, until, inspired by Inori's fire and passion for skating, he decides to coach Inori to compete on the world stage. He trains her so well that Inori manages to impress her mother, so much so that she gets behind Inori's dreams and allows her daughter to achieve her dream of becoming an Olympic medalist in figure skating. What caught my attention with Medalist was the animation and Inori's will of fire, and how determined she was to achieve her dreams, and how determined Tsukasa was in helping her achieve those dreams. The animation and use of CGI is done so beautifully in this anime. Every performance is an absolute highlight, including Tsukasa's performance when training jumps for the skaters. But what really got me was how motivated Inori was in achieving her dreams, as I found myself relating to her, as I too had dreams of making this channel not only bigger, but a place where we can all freely talk about anime and learn about other people's perspectives on animes, because anime is a genre that's so unique as it caters to everyone. There's an anime for all ages. You have your solo levelings, but you have something like Monster as well, which is very mature but also dark. What I'm basically trying to say is that I want to talk about it all. The good, the bad, the hidden gems, all of it. Or as much of it as I can. Not in this video though, because this script is already 6,000 words long. You get my point. I don't need this video to go over an hour. If you haven't seen Medalist yet, I highly recommend you go watch it. Again, the animation is absolutely amazing, and it's some of the best CGI I've seen in anime. Something that One Dance, a manhwa about a guy who's really shy but breaks out of his shell through dancing, which is something that he gains a passion for. That definitely needed the CGI, because you'll see the CGI right now is not as good as it could be. This is not good CGI, that is good CGI. Okay, I need to make this quicker. With You in the Rain is my next honorable mention, as it's an adorable story about a woman and a tanuki living together. A tanuki is a raccoon dog, a Japanese raccoon dog, by the way. There's more to it than that, but I need to make this one quick. It's fun, adorable, and it's pretty short with 12 episodes, so... To Be Hero X almost made this list, but the middle part of the season became a bit of a slogfest due to how slow feeling the pacing was of the episodes. At least until the Ghost Blade part, which is really what brought it down for me. That and the non-explanation of, well, A, who Nice is, which I guess we'll probably get in the second season, and B, what happened to Ling Ling after E-Souls took out his, well, ex-Hope. Also, going from aliens to talking dogs got me lost big time because I just didn't think the story needed aliens or talking dogs, but that's just my opinion. Now, I know the talking dog is basically because the dog became a hero, but I really don't think we needed that episode at all. I would have rather them talk about what happened to Ling Ling, because think about it, I doubt Ling Ling would have been very happy to see Isol's do that. And then you just see the ending, and it's Ling Ling there, and Isol's walking out as they're announcing like the top 10 heroes. So yeah, what happened there? I don't know why they didn't bother explaining that, but I guess we're gonna get an explanation in season 2. And look, I get Big Johnny is funny and cute, but I'm telling you, that alien could have also just been a dog and it would have worked the same way. See, that's where you could have put the talking dog, right? You could have had this Johnny guy and Big Johnny be heroes together, where the dog was a talking dog, and that would have made a lot more sense and fit in the theme, right? Whereas now it's an alien? I don't get it, but whatever. Blue Exorcist Blue Knight Saga is the best season of Blue Exorcist, but not good enough to make this list. Same with Windbreaker. Spy X Family Season 3 is good, but in the end it just fell short of this list. And finally, let's just mention Solo Leveling. It didn't make this list, but I will say, in all fairness, I will say that I was genuinely considering putting it on my list. The animation and the action scenes are fire, like no doubt about it, very good, amazing. It puts One Punch Man to shame. Like, it's the better version of One Punch Man when it comes to action for sure. But in the end, I decided to not put it on this list because I felt that everything else on this list was just a little better story-wise. Okay, that's all I have for honorable mentions. Now for my top 5 anime of 2025, first up, at number 5, we got My Hero Academia Final Season. Normally MHA would not be so high on a list like this, but with it being the finale to My Hero Academia, which has been running for about a decade now with 8 seasons, 3 movies, and a few specials, Bones Films knew that they had to end things off with a proverbial bang, so to speak, and they did just that with season 8. The stakes of this season are obviously high, with the climax of Shigaraki vs Deku and the rest of the UA heroes fight being the main focus of this season, especially the fight between All For One and Quirkless All Might. The anime did a really good job with that fight in particular, showing how dire the situation is and showing how dangerous Shigaraki and All For One are in the fight to avoid a massive calamity if All For One or Shigaraki were to win. As always, the animation, visuals, and voice acting are on point as they should be for a finale. And all that comes together with the story to conclude itself in the best way possible. It makes me wonder how things would be if season 3 of One Punch Man had the level of animation that the final season of MHA had. But I guess that doesn't matter, as I would rather watch My Hero Academia anyways over One Punch Man. The point is that Bones Films did an amazing job with the conclusion of MHA. I just hope that the ending of the anime is better than the ending in the manga. Its ending, especially the manga ending, leaves a little more to be desired. What I have at number 4 might surprise you, but I've got Chainsaw Man Reze Arc, the movie, at number 4. When I originally made this top 10 list, I did not include movies considering some movies aren't available on streaming services yet, such as the Demon Slayer movie only being available to stream in 2026 on Crunchyroll. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I'd be doing this list a disservice if I did not include the Chainsaw Man Reze Arc movie on this list, because it's a really good movie and easily the best anime movie we've seen in 2025. So, quick summary of the story: Reze baits Denji into thinking that she's interested in him, only to reveal that she's the Bomb Devil, who's been tasked with taking out the Chainsaw Devil, aka Denji. So naturally, Denji fights her, and despite almost losing, manages to win/draw the fight into the depths of the ocean, where Sharkman, Denji's lackey or partner, saves them. But Makima eliminates Reze before she could meet back up with Denji, after Denji tried to spare her life. That was quick. Now, I actually did a full review of the Chainsaw Man Reze arc movie, which you can check out in the top right hand of your screen where that iCard is. And while I believe it's not worth the 9.18 out of 10 rating it has on my anime list, it was 9.9 when I made the review, I could in a sense be convinced to give it a 9 out of 10 rating. Everything from the animation to the voice acting was on point, and I completely understand if you have it higher on your list. But for me, there was no way I could rank this movie any higher than a 4. You'll see why in a bit. Oh, and one more thing for those who are curious, if I did not include anime movies on this list, then I'd bump everything from number 10 to 5 up one spot, and I would have Medalist at number 10. Before we get into my top 3, let me just say that you could rearrange the order that I have these anime placed from 1 to 3, and I would not be mad at you. It was a real challenge to decide which order I would rank my top 3, as they're all amazing and stand out from everything else on this list. But in the end, this is what I chose. So at number 3, we've got Takopi's Original Sin. Let me start off by saying this anime gets pretty dark. First off, the decision to have the visuals and music have this cute vibe to it, paired with the dark story, is so jarring that it creates this horrible pit in your stomach when you watch it. Takopi's Original Sin is about an alien learning about the ways of humanity and how harsh society can get behind closed doors. The alien is named Takopi. It has another name, but they nickname him Takopi, who tries to help this girl named Shizuka, a girl who gets bullied for things that her mother did with another girl named Marin's father. But things go horribly wrong. I know I complained about the alien in To Be Hero X, but this alien provides another angle to the story, where the alien learns of humanity's lowest moments, so no matter how hard Takopi tries to fix things, it failed until it understood where it went wrong, choosing to return home to its planet and resetting things back to the way it was, without its physical presence, leaving behind remnants of its desire to spread happiness around the world. In Shizuka and Marin's memories. I would say more, but it's for the best that you check it out yourself, because no summary or interpretation of Takopi's Original Sin will describe the heavy psychological and emotional themes throughout the story. Be warned, it's not an easy watch, as a warning shows up at the beginning of each episode, but let me say, I didn't intend for this list to become so somber, but if I could describe this anime in one word, it would be that, somber. Well, there's no easy way to transition to number 2, so let's just get it over with. At number 2, we've got The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity is at number 2, and I'm not gonna lie, I was tempted to put this one at number 1, and here's why. See, I read the manga before watching the anime, so I already knew what season 1 was gonna be about, but after having caught up with the manga, I will say this. The story's only going to get better from here on out. The story is about a guy named Rintaro Sumugi, who's a quiet boy from Chidori High who works at his family's bakery. He's given up on making friends and keeps to himself until a girl named Karuko Wagiri enters the shop wanting cake. She runs out of the shop being flustered after Rintaro witnesses the amount of cake she was scarfing down. But having forgotten her order, Rintaro chases after her and ends up defending her against bullies who were trying to use her to get to him in the first place. From there, their meetings become more frequent as their friendship blossoms into romance by the end of season 1. There's a lot more to the story than just their romance, as everyone in Rintaro's and Karuko's circle get their time to shine, as no one is forgotten in this story. Another thing that this story does well is write a romance story that feels so real that it could very well be the retelling of the mangaka's actual love story with their high school sweetheart. It's a very genuine love story that's almost reminiscent of my cousin's love story with his high school sweetheart. He knows who he is, and if he's watching, hello. See, in my cousin's case, he got married this summer after being with his now wife for over 15 years. Case in point, this slow-burning genuine romance is a must-read in the manga's sake or a must-watch in the anime's sake, which in my opinion is one of, if not the best romance stories, rivaling the likes of Fruit Baskets for the #1 romance anime/manga period. I highly recommend watching this anime or reading the manga. It's well worth it, hence why I have it at number 2 on my top 10 anime list of 2025. And at number 1 we had the one and only Apothecary Diaries Season 2. Season 2 came out early in January 2025, and for me it withstood the competition to stay as my number 1 anime of 2025. I did a review on the Apothecary Diaries, which you can check out on the top right hand of your screen, where the iCard is, but here's a short summary of the story. Mao Mao, the MC of the story, is an apothecary who makes medicines. She lives with her grandfather in the slums, but works in the pleasure district as an apothecary. One day she gets kidnapped because she looks pretty, and is sold to the emperor, who then makes her a maid of one of his concubines. While working as a maid, she uncovers the cause of the emperor's children becoming sick having to do with the makeup that's applied to them, which saves the concubine's child from passing away that Mao Mao was working for. This catches the eye of a man of noble descent, Jinshi, who finds out that Mao Mao was the one who saved Lady Gyokyo's child. Lady Gyokyo is the concubine that Mao Mao works for, and as a way to thank her, Lady Gyokyo promotes Mao Mao to be her taste tester and eventual lady-in-waiting. From there, she basically goes around and solves mysteries that occur within the palace, even working for Jinshi as well. That's the basic summary, but trust me, my summary does not do any justice to how good this story/anime is. Mao Mao is easily one of the best female protagonists we've had for a while now. Anyway, she's charming, smart, witty, just to double down on how smart she is, funny,
why are you by the window?
and someone who you definitely want to root for. She's also a really good detective and apothecary. Aside from Mao Mao, the world building is beautiful in this anime, and historically accurate, at least the setting is. But the events are purposefully inaccurate so as to allow for creative freedom. And creative it is. If you like Kingdom, Yona of the Dawn, or are a fan of the mystery/historical genre, you will love this anime. Everything from the MC, to the world building, to the masterfully crafted story, all of it comes together to make a cohesive masterpiece of mystery-centered fun, with Sherlock Holmes in the forefront of it all, and things only get better in Season 2. With the viewer learning more about the real identity of Jinshi, and the inkling of a potential relationship between Mao Mao and Jinshi brewing in the background. I won't spoil anymore, but trust me, once you watch the Apothecary Diaries, you'll understand why it's so highly rated, and why I chose it to be my number 1 anime of 2025. And that's my list of my top 10 anime of 2025. Overall, it was a pretty good year for anime. I mean, it got pretty rough in spring 2025, but summer 2025 more than made up for it. But man, 2026 is going to be crazy. So to start off January 2026, we have Fairy and Beyond Journey's End going up against JJK in a head-to-head battle that will be crazy. We also have Hell's Paradise and Fire Force Season 3 Part 2, and those 4 will be the big 4 names of anime that will be coming out in January. So yeah, I mean, January is already really stacked, and then you have stuff like Chainsaw Man Season 2 that's expected to come out in 2026, and I think Kagurabachi, which everyone's really been hyping up. So 2026 is about to be crazy for anime. Maybe even crazier than 2025. We'll see. Alright, thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video and you want to see me do more top 10s, such as the top 10 worst anime of 2025 or top 10 most overrated anime of 2025, then let me know by leaving a like on the video and by subscribing to the channel. Also do that if you want to see more anime content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the new year. Peace.